pass. It's 1 to a million that any civilian by vigor and folk will surpass. Gold lace has a jump for the fair, and I've plenty of matter to spare. But a lover's profession would not...
Hi all. Today we're looking at an anarcho-capitalist shitlord who used to go by Anarchy Ball and now has the unmitigated gall to call himself Mr. Dapperton. Jesus Christ. It sounds like the villain in a Dickens novel, which is fitting, I guess, but more on that later. First, a quick word on anarcho-capitalism, or ANCAP, flag pictured here. It's dumb and has a silly nonsensical name. Whatever you think of the two philosophies, anarchism is not compatible with capitalism in any way, shape, or form. Anarchism is about the dissolution of unjustified hierarchies. The slogan isn't no gods, no masters, except for the captains of industry and Wall Street, etc. Those are the good kind of masters. But I'm not here to debate political theory. I'm here to make fun of some idiot Suitsona. Now, this guy cycles through a few different versions, so it's hard to pick any one suit in particular, but they're all a variation on a theme. Sometimes a cartoon, sometimes a more rendered drawing, and sometimes live action him in a costume. Nice neckbeard, by the way, Daps. But it's generally this character in a Deathstroke-like mask, made up to look like the aforementioned ANCAP flag, in a top hat and some sort of old-fashioned getup, usually tending towards Victorian or Regency eras. The coat and hats also tend to be blue or dark blue. There's no real etiquette problems here. I mean, this one artist here doesn't seem to know how buttons work, but for the most part the suits are too pared down to criticize in detail. What I can criticize is the lack of cohesion in the character's look. This is a common problem, it would seem. We saw that with Omegon last time. There's just no theme. Just a bunch of random elements stuffed together because he thinks it looks cool. Well, newsflash, dude, it's not cool. It's the polar opposite of cool. Now, my plan this entire time for this Suitsona redesign was to take the Dickensian name and robber baron-esque philosophy he spews out and relate it back to Victorian-era caricatures. I started looking at ones of New York Mayor Boss Tweed. Supposedly it was caricatures of him in newspaper cartoons that got the public to realize that he was a greedy crook. I didn't want to make him fat like a lot of capitalist caricatures tend to be, as that's fat-shaming, non-sequitur, and whatnot, and I'm not exactly svelte myself, so it would be adding hypocrisy on top of everything. So I looked at a bunch of other vintage political cartoons for reference. I came across this one, which has a pose I really liked, and I used that as my basis. So here's my redesign. I was originally going to keep the mask, but it didn't look right with the style I was using. So I made it of just a human face with the ANCAP colors on it anyway. I spent quite a bit of time on cross-hatching to get the feeling of those old political cartoons, and I colored it with watercolor as a nod to Sir John Tenniel, who did the illustrations for Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. A few notes on the suit. You might have noticed that the waistcoat is all buttoned up. As I mentioned in the first video on Armored Skeptic, the fashion of unbuttoning the bottom one dates back to the Edwardian era. As this character is wearing a Victorian cut, even single-breasted waistcoats should be done up. The colors are a bit brighter and more vivid than I had initially intended, the consequence of the paint I use and the fact that I haven't used watercolor in ages. I had originally wanted to make it look a lot more washed out in Tenniel's manner, but I actually like the way this turned out. It's eye-catching. My only reservation was that it sort of masked the cross-hatching work, which again I spent a lot of time on. Oh well. Well, that's it for me today. Hope you like this further bit of nonsense. I'm enjoying making them, though having subjected myself to these people's YouTube channels is screwing up my algorithmic choices. It, recommends me really dumb things. I already get enough how SJWs ruin Star Wars in my recommendations as it is. C'est la vie. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe. God knows my channel needs it. I feel like I'm howling into the void over here. So long, and see you next time.